Hello. This is King Channel TV. We have the latest breaking news on the possible release of Brittney Griner. Former NBA star, Dennis Rodman, said Saturday that he plans to visit Russia to seek the release of WNBA star, Brittney Griner, who was sentenced to 9 years in prison on drug charges earlier this month. "I got permission to go to Russia to help that girl," Rodman told NBC News. "I'm trying to go this week." If Rodman goes to Russia, it won't be the first time he has conducted informal diplomacy with an international leader who has strained relations with the U.S. Rodman has cultivated a relationship with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un over the past decade, making multiple visits to North Korea. He called Russian President Vladimir Putin cool after a 2014 trip to Moscow. In 2018, he showed up on the sidelines of former President Donald Trump's meeting with Kim in Singapore. And he has credited himself with helping to secure the release of American Kenneth Bae from North Korea. The U.S. has imposed stiff sanctions on Russia in response to its invasion of Ukraine and is aiding Ukraine's forces. Griner's imprisonment has created an additional source of tension between the two countries and a potential avenue for diplomacy. Bill Richardson, a former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, who has been involved in past hostage negotiations, told the Associated Press this month that he was optimistic about the chances for a prisoner swap that would bring Griner and another American, Paul Whelan, back to the U.S. Rodman does not need special permission from the U.S. to enter Russia, just a visa from Moscow, but the State Department has issued a travel advisory that strongly discourages American citizens from visiting the country. Let us review the following video, which provides a more detailed update on Brittney Griner.
Tonight, imprisoned WNBA star Brittney Griner's lawyers appealing her recent conviction in Russian court, even as the U.S. and Russia pursue delicate negotiations for a prisoner swap. The move comes 2 weeks after Griner was sentenced to 9 years in a penal colony for drug possession and smuggling, stemming from a February incident in which she was caught trying to enter Russia with cannabis oil. Griner pleaded guilty to the drug charges but maintained it was an accident.
I made an honest mistake, and I hope that in your ruling that it doesn't end my life here.
Griner's appeal could take months, and Russian officials have suggested Griner wouldn't be released until the full legal process plays out. But tonight, the State Department saying there's no reason her appeal should delay a deal to bring her home.
No elements of this trial changes our judgment that Brittney Griner is being wrongfully detained and should be released immediately. We are in communication with the Russians.
Former State Department official Joel Rubin says the appeal will continue applying pressure on Russia, but that the final decision is still in the Russian president's hands.
That for Vladimir Putin, the question will be, when does he find it in his maximum political interest to let her go? When does he need to make the trade? When does he need to get a bump back at home for propaganda purposes? Right now, he doesn't seem to feel that need.
Today's appeal comes amid talks between the U.S. and Russian diplomats over a potential swap, in which Russia would exchange Griner and former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan for convicted Russian arms dealer Victor Bout. Those talks reportedly complicated by the Biden administration's public comments about the possible swap, which one Russian official characterized as megaphone diplomacy. Former U.S. diplomat Bill Richardson, who has assisted in efforts to get Griner home, weighed in on the administration's tactics on ABC News.
I wouldn't have gone public as much as they did, but it was done sometimes when negotiations are not working. You want to throw a little bit of a bomb, and I think that's what they did.
Griner's Russian lawyer explaining their reaction to the verdict on the BBC's Ukraine cast.
It does seem like a very harsh sentence, yes, considering the amount of the substance and considering her guilty plea.
All right, Josh Letterman joins Top Story tonight. So Griner's lawyer, we just heard her there, mentioned that she thought this sentence was unusually harsh. What is the typical punishment for this kind of crime in Russia?
Well, her legal team says it's usually about 5 or 6 years with the possibility of parole. And remember, she was caught with a very small amount of cannabis oil, less than a gram. And her lawyers say it was not recreational. They say she has a valid prescription in the U.S. for medical marijuana and simply left it in her luggage by accident. Tom.
So Josh, while I have you, I have one more question for you, and I understand there is so much going on in Ukraine right now, but I am curious, is this case at all generating any type of headlines where you are over there?
Not so much in Ukraine, but they are clearly very attuned to the way that Russia is approaching its relations with the West, with the U.S., its willingness to do a prisoner swap, its willingness to talk about with the U.S. About broader issues in hopes that there could be some effort by the U.S. and other Western nations to force Russia to back down, Tom.
That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, share it with others and subscribe to King Channel TV.